Question number 12, the Honourable David Parker.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Trade. Will he now release the government's objectives and the latest offer it is tabled in respect of each chapter and each annex of the proposed Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement?
Mr Speaker.
Honourable Todd McLeay.
On behalf of the Minister, our negotiators are working to get the best deal for New Zealanders. That objective wouldn't be advanced by publicly declaring New Zealand's hand to our negotiating partners. All TPP members have agreed to keep negotiating text confidential.
Order.
That includes the annexes.
Supplementary question, Honourable David Parker.
Is he aware that the European Commission has undertaken to publicly release both its offers and its objectives for each chapter and annex of the European equivalent to the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement, the TTIP, between Europe and the USA?
Speaker.
The Honourable Todd McLeay.
On behalf of the Minister, yes, partly in response to the Ombudsman's recommendation, the European Commission has made available publicly a range of position papers and early texts that have been tabled from part of the EU negotiations with the US. Our assessment, Mr Speaker, is that the material released by the European Commission is fairly generic, and New Zealand's negotiators have already made available our own material on TPP.
Supplementary question, the Honourable David Parker.
Does he accept that his government's excessive secrecy around the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement is feeding public distrust?
Mr Speaker.
Honourable Todd McLeay.
No, Mr Speaker, I don't accept that on behalf of the Minister. What I do accept, though, that the process that the government is following under TPP is exactly the same process that was followed for the China FTA agreement. Back then, Mr Goff, as Minister for Trade, went through a consultation. There have been 2 public consultations on TPP. Secondly, Mr Speaker...
Order. I'm getting to the stage I'm going to be asking a member to leave from this side of the House. The level of interjection means I can't hear the answer. Would the Minister please continue?
Mr Speaker, secondly, that party opposite, when they were in government, were in favour of trade agreements that were of a high quality for New Zealand. They're the ones that are causing grief. They should support this negotiation, support New Zealand businesses when it comes to the high quality agreement the government has said must be negotiated before we will reach a commitment.
But before I call a supplementary question, I've given a warning to my left-hand side. I will act on it. Honourable David Parker, supplementary question.
Does he accept his lack of transparency is contributing to the concern expressed by public health doctors about the possible effects of the Trans-Pacific Partnership?
Mr Speaker.
Honourable Todd McLeay.
Mr Speaker, this is not an agreement that has been negotiated in secret. This is an agreement that is being conducted the same as every other trade negotiation that's taken place by parties on both sides of this House, firstly. Secondly, Mr Speaker, when it comes to the concerns raised, New Zealand is not prepared to negotiate on the fundamentals of the Farm Act model. The government has been clear from the start that it will strongly resist proposals that would increase the price New Zealanders pay for their medicine. We're taking a careful approach to pharmaceutical patent issues to ensure any agreed outcome does not affect the fundamentals of medicine access in New Zealand.
Supplementary question, Honourable David Parker.
Well then, does he accept the criticism from the Anglican and Catholic bishops of New Zealand as to the government's lack of transparency when last week they said, quotes, "The lack of transparency is a matter of great concern. The sense of unease stretches across the community." Or have they got it wrong too?
Mr Speaker.
Honourable Todd McLeay.
Mr Speaker, when that member on the opposite side of the House last spoke on a trade issue, it was around the China FTA. That agreement was worth, at the time, New Zealand had $2 billion worth of two-way trade with China. Today we have $20 billion. The government is interested in a high-quality agreement under TPP that will provide good market access for New Zealand businesses, secure income for the country, and will also provide jobs for New Zealanders. I invite him to go back and look at earlier speeches from members of the opposition when they were in government and join the party.
That concludes questions for oral answer. I call on Government Order